I'm so excited for the things that I'm going to do in the future, and I already know the connections I've made here are going to last a lifetime. And yeah, I see projects in my mind, in my dreams now that I would have never had if I hadn't have been here. And so I'm really grateful for that. I heard some really amazing things about it and from a previous catalyst, and the incredible connections that they made that they've still had to this day that helps with their energy projects. And I thought it would be an amazing opportunity to just learn more about clean energy, because I'm pretty new to clean energy, and just to really find people who are in it with me, because this work, I'm still so new and I could feel alone in it.
The most important lesson that a catalyst should take away from this program is the fact that they are not alone, that there are people all across the country that are willing to help them and are willing to collaborate with them and mentor them to ensure that their community and they themselves can go down a path that is really, economically impactful and environmentally responsible.
Every single thing that we do in the community is connected to energy. And so this is really about a transfer of agency and a transfer of power back to our communities. So one thing that everyone talks about here is self-sufficiency and sovereignty. The start of that, the start of actually being a nation, well, you need to be able to generate your own power. It's literally generating power, but it's also taking back power and asserting autonomy over the direction that you want to go.
Chris Henderson really thought about things in a completely different way. He said, there's this problem that all these communities are facing. There's a problem that the world is facing. And I think he understood that some of the solutions need to come from these communities. And it's so hard to do that on your own. And it's so hard to do that if you're just the one energy champion in a community. But if you have a team of people and you have that support behind you, then you're not alone. And it makes things doable, it makes things tangible, it makes your dreams and your goals real, because you've seen people either make the mistakes or you've seen people succeed, and in either way you're going to learn from that. So I think it was just, groundbreaking, out of the box thinking. Let's build something that continues, let's build something that grows and grows and grows.
If we're going to meet our 2050 goal of a net zero carbon future, we have to attack all of the existing houses. And I firmly believe that the First Nations, through ICE, will be the ones that will lead the way. We have 16 superstars here, and they are going back to their communities, and they're going big or go home. They are looking to do major retrofit programs in their communities. They put me in awe all the time of their passion and their desire to make change in their communities. And it's not easy. They are up against so many different things, remote communities, shipping stuff in, the cost, lack of capacity in their community for skills, having to rely on outside contractors. And we're really encouraging them to teach your own people, do the work yourselves, create the employment inside your community.
I'm learning so much. I came into this knowing basics about housing, and now I'm starting to feel almost like an expert and starting to learn about building science and building envelopes and energy efficiency and the whole deal. Despite how far we are distant in communities or how different our nations might be, we're all struggling with a lot of the similar common issues, even though we might be across the country from one another.
So what I'm looking at in my community is looking at how much First Nation community member is making for their income. So how much are they making, how much are they spending on utility bills, and then how much they have left for their food. I have the Imagination program that's helping me create a solar-powered greenhouse. And then with the Project Accelerator, it's helping me look at the houses to make their houses more energy efficient.
I'm very passionate about having youth, particularly Indigenous youth, but youth, of course, involved in the climate action movement. In climate action, don't think that you have to be this, cutting edge, engineer or business professional. There's so many different roles that youth can play in the future of our energy systems. And there is a role for you, and it's so desperately needed.
Indigenous youth and future generations are the inheritors of the earth and the existing systems that we currently live within. And so, in my view, it's imperative that they are equipped with the skills, the knowledge, and the supports to drive change and restore Indigenous sustainable livelihood.
Historically, a lot of the doors have been shut to us, and programs and creative spaces like this creates that community and creates those spaces for us to contribute and share our solutions and experience. And not only were we left out of conversations, we had very little resources. There's a lot of economic restrictions placed on Indigenous people. And so while the rest of the country was growing and people were getting educated, and a lot of that was, not accessible to people until recently.
My name is Taylor Bain-Takosa. I'm Dene, and I come from the Fort Nelson First Nation. My involvement in clean energy comes through my employment with my nation. So I work for my nation's owned geothermal project called Tudeka. So as a Dene person, working in clean energy is meaningful to me because it allows me to be a part of something bigger than myself, and it, makes me feel good that I'm doing something that's going to benefit the generations to come.
I think the community that Indigenous Clean Energy brings, from the cohort members to the ICE staff, as well as all of the alumni and all of the mentors, they really support you in every single way, and every single person has an expertise that you can sort of hone in on, and they're willing to be there for you and teach and support you. I learn something every single day, and I really love the community that ICE has created.
I decided to join the Catalyst program as a mentor because I felt like it was a great opportunity for me to not only share some of my experiences, but learn from a lot of other great Indigenous leaders in clean energy from across Turtle Island, and a way for me to understand some of the different experiences and perspectives that we hold in our clean energy transitions and in our renewable energy future.
I just really believe in capacity building and relationship building, as well as mentorship and having an auntie role for those within the program, as well as those doing community projects. ICE's community is everything to me. I've been around for 5 years now, as I think 20 years old when I first got introduced to ICE, and there's a lot of investment that's been put into me by many mentors, many people who I find my own aunties, and so I wanted to be able to provide that role to someone else.
That's one of the most difficult things I had to learn, was to ask for help. No, I'll figure it out. No, I know, even though I don't, because of my own upbringing and traumas that I experienced as an individual. And now starting to say, I trust. And when I trust, then I'll start believing that life is better. And we as people will do that together. I say reconciliation starting here, so that I can talk to you. I could talk to others that are going through here, encourage them to do more and to continue their learning.
Due to Indigenous capacity building programs in the clean energy space, coupled with a lot of innovative policies and funding programs that have been successful through federal, provincial, and territorial government schemes, as well as a lot of advocacy work that has been done, Indigenous nations have been able to gain the skills and build their capacity to lead hundreds of small to large scale Indigenous owned or partially owned clean energy projects. So today, Indigenous nations are the second largest asset owners of renewable energy within our country, which is unbelievable. We're the only country around the world that has so many Indigenous people owning projects. After a lot of reflection about where Indigenous Clean Energy as an organization was at, where Indigenous nations within our country, what they had achieved and what they will continue to achieve, our organization thought we could expand some of our knowledge, some of our programming, and some of our work to our global kin. So that is why Indigenous Clean Energy decided to enter some of these international climate spaces, to attend the Conference of the Parties, and share some of these stories in hopes that they would reach some of our kin and some of our communities in other parts of the world, so that we could get to a place where we weren't speaking at a conference, but we were, flying to an area, flying to Colombia, flying to Ecuador, flying to Oceania, and meeting our kin and supporting them on the ground. We really feel that there's a huge opportunity to connect with other people, to build meaningful relationships in other regions of the world, and to do what traditional sustainable development is considered in a decolonial way. So we have a very big dream to be able to, essentially assert Indigenous rights and sovereignty through the clean energy transition. And this is something that we advocate for on a global stage all the time, because the clean energy transition can't be another opportunity for recolonization. This is our time as Indigenous people to assert our rights. It's the opportunity for us to be the voices of how we're going to protect and sustain Mother Earth for generations to come.